Page number 53. The reflective level. The reflective level is the home of conscious cognition. As a consequence, this is where deep thinking develops, where reasoning and conscious decision making takes place. The visceral and behavioral level are subconscious, and as a result, they respond rapidly but without much uh, analysis. Reflection is cognitive, deep, and slow. It often occurs after the event has happened. It is a reflection or looking back over them, evaluating the circumstances, actions, and outcomes, often assessing blame or responsibility. The highest level of emotions come from the reflective level, for it is here that causes are assigned and where predictions of the future takes place. Adding casual elements to experienced event leads to such emotional state as guilt and pride. When we assume ourselves to be the cause and blame and praise when others are thought to be the cause, most of us have probably experienced the extreme highs and lows of anticipated future event, all imagined by a runway reflective cognitive system but intense enough to create the psychological response associated with extreme anger or pleasure. Emotion and cognition are tightly intertwined. Design must take place at all levels: visceral, behavioral, and reflective. To the designer, reflection is perhaps the most important of the levels of processing. Reflection is conscious, and the emotion produced at this level are the most protracted, those that assign agency and cause, such as guilt and play and blame or praise and pride. Reflective responses are part of our memory of events. Memories last far longer than the immediate experience or the period of uses, which are the domain of the visceral and behavioral level. It is reflection that drives us to recommend a product, to recommend what other use it, or perhaps to avoid it. Reflective memories are often more important than reality. If we have strongly positive visceral response but disappointing usability problem at the behavioral level, when we reflect back upon the product, the reflective level might very well weigh the positive response strongly enough to overlook the severe behavioral difficulties. Hence the phrase attractive things work better. Similarly, too much frustration, especially towards the ending stage of use, and our reflection about the experience might overlook the positive visceral qualities. Advertisers hope that the strong reflective value associated with a well known, highly prestigious brand might overwhelm our judgment. Despite a frustrating experience in using the product, vacations are often remembered with fondness despite the evidence from the diaries of repeated discomfort and anguish. All three levels of processing works together. All play essential role in determining a person's like or dislike of a product or service. One nasty experience with a service provider can spoil all future experiences. One superb experience can make up for the past deficiencies. The behavioral level, which is the home of interaction, is also the home of all expectations based emotions of joy and hope, frustrations and anger. Understanding arise at a combination of the behavioral and reflective level. Enjoyment requires all three Designing at all three levels is also important that I devote an entire book to the topic emotional design. In psychology, there has been a long debate about which happens first, emotions or cognition. Do we run and flee because some event happened that made us afraid, or are we afraid because our conscious reflective mind notices that we are running? The three level analysis shows that both of idea these idea can be correct. Sometimes the emotion comes first. An unexpected loud noise can cause automatic visceral and mm, behavioral responses that makes us flee. Then the reflective system observes itself fleeing and deduces that it is afraid. The action of running and fleeing occurs first and set off the interpretation of fear. But sometimes cognition occurs first. Suppose the street where we are walking leads to a dark and narrow section. Our reflective system might conjure numerous imagined threats that await us. At some point, the imagined depiction of potential harm is large enough to trigger the behavioral system, causing us to turn and run and flee. Here is where the cognition sets off the fear and action. Most products do not cause fear, running, or fleeing, but badly designed devices can induce frustration and anger, a feeling of helplessness and despair, and possibly even hate. Well designed device can induce pride and enjoyment, a feeling of being in control and pleasure, possibly even love and attachment. Amusement parks are experts at balancing the conflicting responses of the emotion stages, providing rides and fun houses that triggers fear responses from the visceral and behavioral level, while all the time providing reassurance at the reflective level that the park would never subject to anyone to a real danger. All three levels of processing work together to determine a person's cognitive and emotional state. High level reflective cognition can trigger level emotions. Lower level emotions can trigger higher level reflective cognitions. The 7 stages of action and the 3 levels of processing. The stages of action can readily be associated with the 3 different levels of processing as shown in figure. At the lowest level are the visceral levels of calmness or anxiety when approaching a task or evaluating the state of the world. Then in the middle level are the behavioral one driven by expectation on the execution side, for example, hope and fear, and emotions driven by the confirmation of those expectations on the evaluation side, for example, relief or despair. At the highest level are the reflective emotions, one that assesses the results in terms of the presumed causal agents and consequences, both immediate and long term. Here is where satisfaction and pride occurs, or perhaps blame and anger. One important emotional state is the one that accompanies a complete immersion into an activity, a flow that the social scientist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi has labeled flow. Mihaly has studied how people interact with their work and play, how their lives reflect this intermix of activities. When in the flow state, people lose track of the time and the outside environment. They are at one with the task they are performing. The task, moreover, is at just the proper level of difficulty, difficult enough to provide a challenge and required continued attention, so not but not so difficult that it invokes frustration and anxiety. Mihal's work shows how the behavioral level creates a powerful set of emotional responses. Here, the subconscious expectation establishes by the execution side of the action cycle sets up emotional state dependent upon those expectations. When the results of our actions are evaluated against expectation, the resulting emotion affect our feeling as we continue through the many cycle of actions. An easy task far below our skill level makes it easy to meet expectation that there is no challenge, very little or no processing effort is required, which lead to apathy or boredom. A difficult task far above our skill leads so many failed expectation that it causes frustration, anxiety, and helplessness. The flow state occurs when the challenge of the activity just slightly exceeds our skill level, so full attention is continually required. Flow requires that the activity be neither too easy nor too difficult relative to our level of skills. The constant tension coupled with continual progress and success can be engaging, immersive experience sometimes lasting for hours. People as storytellers. Now that we have explored the way that actions get done and the three different levels of processing that integrate cognition and emotions, we are ready to look at some of the implications. People are innately disposed to look for causes of events to form explanations and stories. That is one reason storytelling is such a persuasive medium. Stories resonate with our experience and provide examples of new instance. For our experiences and the stories of others, we tend to form generalizations about the way people behave and things work. We attribute causes to event, and as long as these cause and effect pairing makes sense, we accept them and use them for understanding future events. Yet these casual attributions are often erroneous. Sometimes they implicate the wrong causes, and for some things that happens there is no single cause, rather a complex chain of events that all contributes to the result. If any one of the events would not have occurred, the result would be different. But even when there is no single causal act, that does not stop being from assigning one. Conceptual models are a form of a story resulting from our predisposition to find explanation. These models are essential in helping us understand our experience, predict the outcome of our action, and handle unexpected occurrences. We base our models on whatever knowledge we have, real or imaginary, naive or sophisticated. Conceptual models are often constructed from fragmentary evidences with only a poor understanding of what is happening and with the kind of naive psychology that postulates causes, mechanisms, and relationship even where there are none. Some faulty models lead to the frustration of everyday life, as in the cause of many settable refrigerator, where my conceptual model of its operations uh, did not correspond to reality. Far more serious are faulty models of such complex systems as industrial plant or passenger airlines. Misunderstanding there can lead to devastating accidents. Consider the thermostat that controls room heating and cooling systems. How does it work? The average thermostat offers almost no evidence of its operation except in a highly roundabout manner. All we know that all we know is that if the room is too cold, we set a higher temperature in the thermostat. Eventually, we feel warmer. Note that the same thing applies to the temperature control of almost any device whose temperature is to be regulated. Want to bake a cake. Set the oven thermostat and the oven goes to the desired temperature. If you are in a cold room in a hurry to get warm, will the room heat more quickly if you turn the thermostat to its maximum setting? Or if you want the oven to reach its working temperature faster, you should turn the temperature dial all the way to the maximum and then turn it down once the desired temperature is reached. Or to cool a room most quickly, should you set the air conditioner thermostat to the lowest temperature setting? If you think that the room or oven will cool and heat faster if the thermostat is turned all the way to the maximum setting, you are wrong. You hold an erroneous folk theory of the heating and cooling system. One commonly held folk theory of the working of a thermostat is that it is like a valve. The thermostat controls how much heat comes out of the device. Hence, to heat or cool something most quickly, set the thermostat so that the device is on maximum. The theory is reasonable and there exist devices that operate like this, but neither the heating nor the cooling equipment for the home nor the heating element of a traditional oven is one of them. In most homes, the thermostat is just an on-off switch. Moreover, most heating and cooling devices are either fully on or fully off, all or nothing, with no in-between state. As a result, the thermostat turns the heater, oven, or air conditioner completely on at full power until the temperature setting on the thermostat is reached. Then it turns the unit completely off, setting the thermostat at the one extreme cannot affect how long it takes to reach the desired temperature. Works worse because this bypasses the automatic shut off when the desired temperature is reached. Setting it at the extremes invariably means the temperature overshoots the target. If people are uncomfortable, cold, or hot before, they will become uncomfortable in the other direction, wasting considerable energy in the process. But how are you to know? What information helps you understand how the thermostat works? The design problem with the refrigerator is that there are no aids to understanding and no way of forming the correct conceptual models. In fact, the information provided misleads people into forming the wrong, quite inappropriate model. So that's page number 58 done, and we'll continue page number 59 tomorrow. See ya.